Now, the first concept I want to get across to you is that music is communication. And you may have heard it said that music is a universal language. We're going to challenge that notion a little bit as we go through this course. But for now, I want you to focus on the idea of music as communication. And I thought of an example that might get this idea across to you. And this is the hymn, Amazing Grace. Some of you may be familiar with that, some may not. But it was composed by an Englishman, John Newton, who was himself a former slave ship captain. He had a religious experience from that heart-wrenching process of transporting black Africans across the Atlantic to the American colonies. And so in the mid-1700s, after this religious experience, he wrote this hymn, and it's a hymn of redemption. And as you read the first verse here, I could simply recite this poetry and would have a certain communicative power to you. You might picture this former slave captain having this religious experience, regretting what he did in being part of men being slaves to other men, and depending upon the grace of his Lord to redeem him from what he considered to be a mistake in his life. And so he wrote, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. And so to recite those words has a certain power to communicate. But when you set those to music and you sing, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. I think you can understand that adding that musical dimension, adding that expressive dimension that the human soul seems to innately understand and recognize and resonate to, gives those words another kind of power to communicate. So for today, we're going to consider 3 questions. And the first one, it might seem like it's worded a little strangely when we say, what is music? In other words, what sounds qualify to be defined as music? And we will discuss that. This one sounds even more strange as a short question. Why is music? And what I mean there is, what cultural functions does music fulfill in human society? And then the third question might also sound strange as a 3-word question. How is music? What I mean there is, how is it created? How is it conceived? How is it performed and interpreted?